Hi, guys, and it's Wednesday, and we are going to listen again to the story of How Do You Lift a Lion? Okay, I want you to really pay attention this time because I know we read it yesterday, but I kind of rushed through it a little bit and stopped and asked questions. So we're going to listen to it again, and then there's an activity afterwards. All right? Did you ever try to lift a lion? You'd have to be awfully strong. It's because of the force of gravity. Gravity pulls objects downward. When that object is as massive or as big as a lion, it pulls pretty hard. With a lever, you can lift a heavy weight with much less effort. So a lever is a simple machine because it would take a lot of effort to lift a lion by yourself, which would be really hard. But by using a lever and pulling down, you'll be able to lift him. The main part of a lever is a bar rod which balances or pivots on a fulcrum. If the force side is longer than the load side, you will have leverage. And that's why they call it a lever, because you need leverage. Leverage adds force to your own strength. With a force side this long, you could lift a lion. And I'm sure if you look closely, it's starting to lift up because they are pulling down. Now, do you suppose you could lift 10 lions? One lion was hard enough. I don't know about 10. The longer the force side is compared to the load side, the more leverage you have. So if you had a lever with a handle this long, maybe you could lift them a little. I think you would need more people though. I don't know if 2 people are just gonna be able to do it. They got them off the ground a little bit, but if they had more people, I bet you they could lift them more. Now, think about a lever. I'm thinking of something that we use in the classroom and that you use this with paper, especially if you want to make something. It's not a crayon, it's not a glue stick. Think for a minute. And you guys love to use it with the Play-Doh. Scissors, right? Did you ever try to pull a panda bear on a pallet? It would be pretty hard. Gravity is pulling on that panda, and there's also friction between the ground and the pallet. Remember how we talked about friction last week? When it's 2 surfaces rubbing up against each other? So you have the wood from the pallet and the ground, and they're rubbing up against each other and causing friction. Gravity is pulling down on that panda, and there's also friction between the ground and the pallet. Friction, or resistance, happens when 2 surfaces rub together. The more weight pushing on the surface, so the panda sitting on the pallet, the more friction there is. So say it was a baby panda. It might be easier for them to pull if it was a baby panda, but it's a big panda. So he weighs more, which is making it harder for them to pull, especially on the ground. If you put wheels on your pallet, there would be less friction, and you wouldn't have to pull quite so hard. Wagon wheels are mounted, so here's the wheels, and they are mounted on this bar right here that is called an axle. At the wheel's center is a bearing, which turns on the axle. So these little parts right in there that you can't see very well. A bearing's inside surface is smooth, so it makes very little friction, so it's easier to move. Oiling a bearing's inside surface makes it slippery, so it has even less friction. This is called lubrication. So the oil makes less friction. So you have the wheels, and you have the axle, and you have the bearing, and now you have a simple machine, a wagon. Wheels with bearings make much less friction than pallet bottoms. That's why you can pull the Panda now, even though he's just as heavy. So because they put the wheels on, it's easier for them to pull because there's not as much friction. If you begin to go downhill, gravity takes over to pull your load. Gravity not only pulls objects straight down, it pulls down slopes. So now that you don't have to pull, you could carry a much bigger load. So they're going downhill now. And they're going to go slower. They're going to go faster now. Now you could carry a pyramid of pandas. And the steeper the slope, look how steep it's starting to get. It's going up, it's starting to go down quicker and quicker and quicker. The faster gravity will make you go. If the slope began to get very steep, like it is here, you'd probably wish you had more friction to slow you down. You wouldn't want to go that fast, because if you have wheels and you're going like that, you might run into something because it's going to be harder to stop. If I can get the whole thing in there. Did you ever try to deliver a big basket of bananas to a baboon birthday party? It would be mighty heavy. Do you remember what we called this next simple machine from yesterday? Think of the flagpole and how I said the children at Courtyard had to, what? Pull on the rope. So with pulleys, it would be much easier to lift. So they hook some rope and a pulley, and they climb up the ladder, and then they pull on the rope, and the basket starts to move up. A pulley has a wheel with a groove around it to hold a rope. When you lift the one pulley, your lifting strength stays the same, but the direction of force is changed. With two pulleys, your lifting strength is doubled. You'll use twice as much rope, but you can also lift twice the load. So here's the pulley. And in the middle, there's a groove, and that's where you would put the rope through. Okay? And right, the little girl's only using one pulley. And it's working. She's pulling down on the rope, and the dog is going up. But this little boy has they look like dogs, but they're the monkeys, or baboons, sorry. He has two that he needs to lift. So this time he's using two pulleys, and it's going to go up just as easily, probably even more. He won't have to pull as much as the girl because he's using two pulleys. Yes, pulleys make it much easier to deliver a big basket of bananas to a baboon birthday party. And look at the basket. It made its way up to the tree house to be with the baboons for their birthday. But perhaps a smaller basket would have been better. They all look tired and their bellies are hurting. All right, so I'm going to read something really quick, and then you guys can go into your activity, okay? First, we're going to talk about levers real quick. And there's no pictures, it's just words. So I'm just going to read it and you can listen. Did you know that when you row a boat, the oars are actually levers? Now, how many of you have seen a rowboat before? Right? And the things that you push to move the boat, those are called oars. An oar is a lever, which is a simple machine. Likewise, a screwdriver is a lever when you use it to pry the lid off a paint can. And when you cut a piece of paper, your scissors are two levers working together. Okay, so I was right. The scissors are a type of lever. So you can say that you've used a simple machine before because you all have used the scissors. What would our lives be like without wheels? We wouldn't be able to have cars, would we? If we didn't have wheels, we wouldn't have cars, right? You wouldn't have a bicycle or a tricycle. You wouldn't have scooters, okay? You'll find little ones on your skateboard, bigger ones on your bicycle, huge heavy ones on a train engine, and tiny ones inside some watches. There are other forms of wheels you may not even recognize, like the doorknob you turn to open your door, or the faucet that turns off your water. Okay? So wheels are all around us. And wheels are simple machines because remember, there's the wheels, then there's the axle that holds the wheels together, and then inside the axle is the bearing, which makes it go around and around. Pulleys pull you up in elevators and ski lifts. How many of you have been on an elevator before? So even though we can't see it, an elevator is a type of pulley. They help raise sails on sailboats and flags up flagpoles. With pulleys, a window washer can lift himself or herself right up the side of a skyscraper. Have you ever seen them in pictures before where they're on the side of a really big building and they're washing the windows? Well, they're using a pulley system to get them up to the next floor, okay? Look around your world and you'll discover many more examples of levers, wheels, and pulleys. How many can you identify? All right, so that was our story, okay? And I have an activity for you guys to do. And I can't wait to see what you guys have. And I'm excited for Thursday because Thursday, not today, Thursday is one of my favorite assignments for my friends to do. You're gonna have to make another simple machine, but you're really gonna have to think about it. But we'll talk more about that on Thursday. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Bye.